back to Wrestling Brain. I'm Uturusinza, Josh Custodio. And who are you? Well, you're the person watching this and presumably watching AEW Double or Nothing 2024. What do you say? It's not their cornerstone show. It's not really their B show either. AEW doesn't really have a WrestleMania SummerSlam relationship to things, but it's a very important show for. It's certainly not a dynasty. We can all agree to that. It's certainly not a dynasty. It's not one of their B pay-per-views. So here we are. It's Double or Nothing. It's 2024 in Las Vegas, headlined by Swerve Strickland versus Christian Cage. And I'm here to break it all down with a cast of beautiful people. You know him from WBCW Meltdown. He's the enforcer of the Wrestling Brain channel. To fear him is to know him. Torque Vanderloin, the Slak man's in the house. Hey, Slak, are you excited for Double or Nothing this Sunday?
Very excited. Yes. Can't wait.
And Slak, it's not just you and I. We've brought along two of our pals. I don't know who to. Oh my, well, I have to introduce Thomas first because he just changed his background. I don't know if he's ripping me off. Is this, I had to pay for this. I spent good money on this thing. He's our buddy Sludge Williams. Hey, Thomas, how are you today, man?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm at a Sludge Brain HQ. As you can see here, I'm at Sludge Brain. Good. How are you guys going?
Yeah, I'm good, man. You'll be hearing from our lawyers. Slak, do you know any lawyers?
I try not to.
Yeah, none of you can help.
But I edited this in Canva, so it's legal.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I'm not really a guy who knows the ins and outs, so I'll just take your word for it. That's and the logo isn't really the yellow; it's sort of faded and haggard. So I guess tough to say it's the same. And then he's the mod around the channels. You know him from all sorts of places around here. Maddie Mac is in the house, fashion icon, hat backwards. Maddie, you might be the first person on stream, I think, to do. Or no, Slak maybe sometimes does the backwards hat. Feels
Sometimes.
rebellious.
Yeah.
The backwards hat.
Yeah, I'm a bad boy. So.
Everybody,
You,
knows
me,
that.
and Ken Griffey Jr.
Big
Who,
three.
Fred, of course, Fred Durst.
Oh, sure.
And that's it. No one else has worn backwards baseball caps.
4 people.
Matt, where's your excitement level for Double or Nothing 2024 right now?
Before last night, it was not that high. After last night, and then reading a few things throughout the day today, my excitement level probably about a 6.5 out of 7.
Pretty good.
What did you
Not
read
bad.
today that brought your hype up?
Literally, I just read the matches. I was like, oh,
Sometimes that's all it takes. You see the show and you're like measuring it dynamite to dynamite, but that's not what pay-per-views are. They are match by match, was exactly how we're going to go through this show. I'm pretty excited for Double or Nothing, like Maddie. Also, Dynamite brought me up a level. But let's get into the card. We're going to give our picks, our predictions. We're going to say what we think about the feud so far, starting with Swerve Strickland versus Christian Cage. It's been a meaty feud. It's the Swerve Strickland battling through Christian's patriarch faction, I guess you'd say, and family. But this is not a match that I think anybody suspects a title change, Slak. Despite of that, can this be a great match? And what have you thought of this feud on the way?
It's fun. I think Christian's a great. I think one of the things that AEW might be suffering from is that there aren't many credible heels that don't already have a belt. So Christian was kind of your choice. You didn't really have another one. He's always over delivered since coming to AEW. And I think obviously without a title change, there has to be more excitement around that. And I think that's where I think they tie Swerve in more with the giant elite story that's going on in some way or another, hopefully in some kind of a post match or during the match or something. I think that needs to happen somehow. And that's what I'm looking for.
Matty Mac, is this a surefire result? Is Swerve Strickland definitely retaining his title here? And if he is, can we still celebrate or at least talk about what the start of his title run has been like?
he definitely is retaining. There's no, a federation should not have Christian respectfully, of course, as their main champ in the year 2024. So it's a swerve retain. It's going to last a long time, though, I feel. I don't think it'll be a quick match. I think there'll be patriarchy involvement for sure. But I am excited to see what those two guys can do, because we've seen them both have kind of really excellent long form matches, and to see these two do it would be good. That's what I think.
What about that, Thomas? And when you look at this card up and down, there's lots of competitors for match of the night, I think. I don't get the sense a lot of people are predicting Christian and Swerve to be in that air. I actually am. Where are you? Do you think that this can be a show stealer? Can this be the best thing we see that evening?
I mean, there's the potential for sure. I don't think if I were to go down the card that it would pop out like that. There's other ones that are kind of just automatic almost, especially with Osprey and Takeshita involved in singles. But I think these guys, just the way that Swerve is able to bring the most out of people is just incredible, and especially at such a big stage. I think Christian is more than worthy of an opponent. Even though I kind of thought that this feud would kind of settle at a TV defense first initially, but I think this is a great kind of first major defense, but I still don't see it as like a kind of a show stealer at all. Like it has the potential, but I wouldn't predict it as so.
Yeah, I'm definitely somebody who I think likes Christian matches more than maybe the average bear. I do think if you look at his resume in AEW, though, he has had quite the resume in the company. That said, like when you even just look at Anarchy in the Arena, it's like, can it be better than that? I still say yes. I think the stakes involved with this, how sadistic Swerve has been willing to be, even as a babyface in this feud. I'm hoping that side comes out of him a bit more, and we get more of the guy that we saw wrestling Hangman Page against Christian. Maybe he's taken out Nick Wayne, he's taken out Mother Wayne, and finally Killswitch gets in there. He's like, I just need to like take out one of these dudes to focus on Christian, and we get some big bloody spot. I'm genuinely hoping for that.
Yeah.
Slak, Matty Max says it'd be insane to put a world title on Christian this year. I agree, but do you think he suits this? He is in the world title picture right now, despite not. I don't think anybody's picking him winning it. But does he still suit this area to you, or are we done with Christian at this level after this?
No, I don't think we should be. I think there needs to be more guys in that picture, not less. That's one of the things that's always kind of felt like a conversation that continues to be had is it's hard to break out of the level you're in AEW. And I think we talk about this a lot internally as a channel or whatever. When you move on from a mid-title feud, whether you won or lost or you held a belt and now you don't, you should be moving up the card. And to their credit, Christian was a TNT champion who's now moved up the card, which is good. So I'd like to see more people inserted into the picture because realistically, when you think to yourself, who could Swerve face next? It's a very short list of people.
Yeah, and you brought it up before, and it's really true. AEW is feeling, I think, that absence of MJF or whoever would be that upper card heel in this spot opposite Christian. It does fall to, it should be easy. They have the almost every champion is a heel in this company. You have Chris Jericho. It doesn't seem like these things are working though. I don't know, Matty Mac, does anybody come to mind for you who you could see entering, filling this void afterwards on the heel side for Swerve Strickland?
Yeah, there's one guy that can do it, and he hasn't been to work in 6 months, and it's Hangman Page. That's the guy.
Are you expecting to see him on Sunday? I've seen that floated around.
No, I'm not expecting to. I hadn't thought of it. You mentioning it is the first time I'd heard of it. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I thought he might be actually one of the AEW guys in the Anarchy match, but that's not happening either. I don't know where Hangman pops up. I hope he does. I hope he's well. I'd love to see him on my TV because he rules. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. And I think there's a ton of growth for him, both as a heel, which I didn't think he could really pull off, and he was doing with aplomb by the end of it, and as a babyface as well. So other than that, who could you have facing him? I mean, you could have Keith Lee come back if he's ever healthy again, which I don't think he will be, but yeah, you're right. I mean, Slak made a good point. We need to have more people in that area, in that arena rather, and having a couple more heels assert themselves into that would definitely be good for Swerve's program long term and for the company. But I don't know who it is right now.
Yeah, I think they're going to use Jack Perry in that spot, but I'd be much more interested in basically any of the names that you all floated right now. Not that I think Jack Perry's cooked or anything or isn't doing a good job, just from my personal interest in him in the world title scene. For you, Thomas, how has this opening feud been? Have you enjoyed Swerve versus Christian so far? And are you reasonably hyped for this? Even if you don't think it's going to be match of the night, do you think it's a worthy title program on a stacked pay-per-view?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely worthy because I feel like this is like a bigger conversation, but I've definitely the increase of pay-per-views and the new schedule. I feel like these matches kind of work better that you kind of don't expect to be pay-per-view matches, honestly. Like a
Mhm.
couple of years ago, this would have been on TV. But yeah, like I feel like I've really liked the build to this match. I've really liked how honestly, like it's over delivered for me so far of just the personal stuff and like redoing kind of what he was doing with Nick Wayne and um kind of I didn't even realize the connection until it happened. I was like, oh yeah, that happened. So then there you go. But yeah, like I've really enjoyed it. I've definitely felt like they built it up within the last few weeks, and made it really kind of bigger than it is on paper. I feel like initially it was kind of
Yeah.
just like, okay, like you get this established guy in Christian. He's obviously like one of the best heels in the company right now. It's kind of just a natural fit, but it's like we all kind of know the winner, like we've kind of already mentioned. Um, but it's grown on me. It's definitely like over delivered, and yeah, like I'm definitely hyped for it.
Yeah, it's nice to see. We're all unanimous on Swerve, but it looks like we all are also looking forward to it. Gentlemen, this is interesting. And Slak, get ready because I want you to stretch your legs out here.
Okay.
The second match we're going to here, and I usually try to do these preview shows in order of perceived importance or what have you on the card. There's a lot of options for this second spot. It could be the women's world title, it could be anarchy in the arena, but that's not what I want to go to second. I want to talk about the TBS title scene. Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale for the TBS title. I have two very pointed questions for you.
Oh boy.
Who should win this match? And does Mercedes have more pressure on Sunday than any wrestler you can think of recently?
Um, okay, so I don't see a world where Willow wins this match personally. That's just my opinion. And I'm excited about it because I think we've all sort of expressed certain levels of frustration with not having Mercedes wrestle at all since she got back. She's starting to do more physical stuff. She's training like crazy. I've seen the videos, I've seen the pictures, etc. I have no doubt she'll be ready. I also highly, highly believe that this is a sneaky match of the night.
Oh,
Potentially, this could be the best match of the night. Um, I was watching live when they first squared off in San Jose. Was it Battle in the
I think
Valley?
we were watching together in the Discord.
I think so. That was one of the best atmospheres I can remember in the US for a match. That felt so big. And that was Willow before what she's become, which has been one of the best baby faces in wrestling, period. Any promotion, any country. She's, and I think this downfall is the beginning of a bigger ascent for her. So I'm not looking at it as Willow lost. What I want to see is Mercedes has been talking about money talks, money changes everything. She's bought off Chris, she's bought off whatever, and they're gonna all kind of gang up on Willow, and she's gonna see, just become the strongest babyface imaginable with even her best friend turning on her, which is actually the second time it's happened. Ruby did it to her last year.
Right.
So give that shit to me, man. Let her lose, let her get cheated, let her get beat down. Like give that to her because the come up will be incredible. So get her back on the chase, even if she's still in the TBS picture right now, because Tony's kind of insulated little world. The TBS title feels a little bit more important than the women's world title to me. I think this match is going to be incredible. I think Mercedes will deliver on what people are expecting of her, and I think that she's going to win.
I love that take. I love that you think it could be match of the night because there's no reason to think it couldn't when you consider their last encounter. And like you said, I was having a New Japan is back moment during Willow versus Mercedes Moné, two people basically unconnected to New Japan. But I'll jump to you here, Thomas. You follow the Japanese women's wrestling scene very closely. I think you are a big fan of Mercedes' work in Japan. Are you expecting that year of Mercedes Moné to be in this match against Willow on Sunday?
It's hard to really expect a lot because it's been over a year, really.
Mhm.
So like, it's kind of stepping on eggshells of what to expect. Like, I don't want to put too much expectation into like that level of compete and that level of performance, but also I would be kind of disappointed if it's nowhere near that. Like if it's just something that completely falls flat. Especially seeing what Willow has done the past, like, since the beginning of this year, and how crazy, like, every match is basically a must-see match for me from Willow. So, yeah, like, I'd be disappointed, but I don't think I would expect a whole lot to be like that. I think I'm more so expecting it to be like a decent performance, and then I'll be just happy with whatever happens. I'll be overjoyed if it does anything better.
Matty Mac, what about what Slak was saying there? Is the most I think we all agree probably Mercedes is your most likely winner. I don't think a Willow win is totally off the board. You know, lots of feds like to have the outsider lose their first match, so to say. You can't walk in here and take one of our belts. But Mercedes, the star gap is so big. However, if Willow does lose and go to the main event, will you be satisfied? And otherwise, what do you think of Monet as the TBS champion if she does indeed win on Sunday?
I'll be satisfied with Willow's run because of what this has allowed Willow to do. She's really obviously stretched her wings. She's made the most of pretty much every time she's been on TV since having the belt, even leading up to having the belt. With all of the Sky Blue, Julia stat stuff, there was a lot of TV time, whether it was on Canadian TV or not is a different story, but there was a lot of TV time for them to get out there and do the things. And yeah, Willow, to me, it'll be a success. Her run will be a success. I'll be satisfied in that regard. I would like her to retain, and I would like to see Mercedes move to the women's title scene or the world title scene, because I don't think that Deeb is winning. And unless we get somebody like Jamie Hayter returning, I don't really see a top contender over there. Unless it is Mariah, but I think that's still on a slow burn. And sorry, what was the second part?
Do you think that Monet, if she does win on Sunday, does she feel how will her TBS title reign feel? Her with the TBS title feels a little awkward to me, maybe, that she's such a big star that giving her a mid-card title, and I know that can work. People love the John Cena US title run of 2015. I'm just saying for her rival, I don't know. This isn't where I pictured her rematching Willow. I'm sort of able to talk myself into a Willow win based off of these things.
Yeah. Like I said, I'd like Willow to win. I could see a lot of growth still, especially as the TBS champion. But in saying that, the TBS championship has been probably the most prominent women's title in the public sphere. You know, you have a TV station backing behind you. It's made appearances at a bunch of sporting events that are TNT/TBS related. So in that regard, I think that it would fit for Mercedes because she is such a star. Jade was similar,
That's
right? She had that thing at basketball games and all sorts of stuff. So it's weird in the sense that it is a TV title, but since it's not a TV title that gets title changes on TV, it's almost just a TV title with the name of a television network attached to it.
I guess for no reason in my mind, I'm thinking, can Monet go on like an international title run? But that isn't what it would be. It'd be more like a Jade TBS title run, I suppose, where it's a little bit more event based.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there because I would like to see, and it's the same thing what Willow did, right? She defended that championship. I think it's CMLL or AAA, and she's doing the same thing with the Strong Championship when she had it as well. So it'd be nice to see Mercedes in more places, but I could understand Tony having Mercedes as TBS and really just kind of anchoring her away from everything that's out of his control, and just, you know, sticking her as this is the face of TBS.
Thomas, if everything does go chalk this weekend, we might end up with Mercedes Monet as your TBS champion, Adam Copeland as your TNT champion, and Kazuchika Okada as your Continental champion. What does it say about AEW and where they're at right now with these giant stars, these three huge signings going to the mid card rather than the title scene?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it really just says a lot about their roster and who they want to see in the world title picture, like on the flip side of it, because I think they want that homegrown kind of star, like obviously with Swerve that they've been having. Not so much Tony, of course, but that I think these mid card titles are good for already established stars and be like, these people will be on TV and that's the main attraction. And then you get your world title, which like here's where we're putting all like a lot of effort into it, and like making these stories like really grow with the person, and then getting attention to people because they're holding the world title, rather than kind of the reverse of people holding the title and then getting attention to it because of who they are.
Yeah, making the belt versus the belt making the person. I think that's a really good point. Slak, I think it's kind of meat and potatoes here. I think that they're going to TV negotiations. They want to be able to tell their channel that Mercedes and Adam Copeland are holding these straps for them. Is that too simple? Is that too dull an idea?
No.
Or is that how you're going to be picking tonight and where you think they're going with it?
Yeah, I think until there's a TV deal, it's like, look at our star power. We have these great people who you all know and who your watchers know. Everybody knows who Chris Jericho is. That's why Chris Jericho's not going to go off of TV just because the internet hates his guts or whatever. It's not going to happen because he's a huge name and you're trying to sell yourself that next TV deal, which is literally going to make your company continue to exist.
It's the most important thing.
The most important thing. Tony Khan has said it multiple times.
Well, besides keeping the AEW dudes happy, keeping that score above 4.
Right. And not cutting into the starting hour, right? Let's not counter program. Let's not do that.
Me off.
Come on, Tony.
Never go 3 hours either, Tony. I'm telling you, I'm smelling it all over lately.
Don't you do it. No, that's 100% it. And I think when you're watching AEW at all during this period of time, if you're upset about something, just understand that's why it's happening. It might not look great. It might not be for you. Eventually, they will be able to start doing what they want to do and get more into star building mode. But right now, it's star enhancing mode. Like these are the people you need to know.
Yeah, star showcasing.
Yeah,
or however you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I will ask though, with all of that in mind, do you agree with what Maddie Mack and I think others have floated that it's going to be a Chris Statlander turn? It's going to be a Stokely Hathaway turn. That this is going to be the moment that Mercedes is paid off with all the money, and Willow is lost without her friends. Are you expecting that to play into the finish here on Sunday?
I feel like I want it to, and I almost would be like excited if I'm wrong and something else like subverts that. But a lot of times I feel like it might be best saved for Dynamite.
Yeah.
Honestly, I know they're tagging on Rampage. I didn't look at any spoilers, but I do expect some miscommunication of some sort during that match. Just to tease it. Just to tease it. Nothing crazy.
I think they'll coexist perfectly.
Yeah. Can they? That's the question. But yeah, no, I think the tease will continue. You've seen a ton of hints, and they slow play this shit. So it's very possible that it doesn't play into the match at all. It's just a really good wrestling match where there's a winner and a loser. And then on Wednesday, we kick off something else. So I don't know. I hope it does, but typically pay-per-views tend to play it pretty, here's a match. We'll deal with the rest Wednesday.
And that is always to my preference. Even if sometimes it's a little boring or stale, I'd rather have that than going too far in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So Slak, I know you're on Mercedes. I'm on Mercedes. Thomas, are you picking Mercedes Moné to win the TBS title on Sunday?
I think so. I think my head is with Mercedes, but my heart's with Willow.
And Maddie Mack, will you go on the record? Will you pick nothing matters, smile anyways? Can you say it's going to be a Willow Nightingale defense 2-0 against Mercedes Moné?
It will be a Willow Nightingale defense 2-0 versus Mercedes.
You heard it there, folks. We love it. It's a Maddie Mack guarantee. Let's move on, gentlemen. Now, I hate to put rules into a situation like this, but we're going to need to have them as we discuss Anarchy in the Arena. It's Team AEW versus the New Elite. I don't want to talk about the match yet. I'll throw right back here to you, Maddie Mack. Have you enjoyed the build to this match? The Team AEW versus Elite sort of center nucleus on Dynamite recently?
I've enjoyed it in the sense that I think having the Elite versus Team AEW is a cool premise for the show or for the event, especially with the way that they've been running things. Like, obviously, that's why they're doing it. It makes sense to do it. But I haven't been enjoying what has happened so far. I don't think having 3 former Fed guys being Team AEW is a good thing. The only guy that isn't a WWE guy formerly is Darby, and it would have been Eddie. And I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, I know how wrestling works. Everyone works everywhere. I don't care. But these guys are like, I mean, they had some pretty good stuff in WWE. It's not like Lance Archer or Trent being like, oh, former WWE guy. It's like, no, these guys are title holders and like all-time greats over there. So I do appreciate them, sticking up for AEW in that sense and being on the team. I don't love that it's that collection of guys. I like all those guys, some of my favorites in the business, but to be that group as like Team AEW just rings a little hollow for me, considering their past and potential future.
Slak, what have you thought of this feud? Do these guys feel like Team AEW to you? And regardless of it all, where's your hype level for this match relative to other stuff on the card for Sunday?
I'm excited about it. I think it's the beginning of something, not by any means a complete product. And I'm trying. I really do try to tell myself that kind of stuff when I think about a story being in its early stages. Right. The way I'm looking at this is this Team AEW is like the first Team AEW and is doomed to fail. And I think you can point to some of their experience being WWE guys as maybe part of why they'll fail. So you've got Dax and Cash already beat up. Bryan Danielson's, whether working or shooting this injury that he's got, they're definitely going to lose. You can't have the Elite lose this match, period. And this storyline needs to continue and start adding people to it. To me, I'm excited Darby's in it, but I'm also like, I thought that was going to kind of come in at the middle to tail end of this story, because now you've got the real Team AEW, which I think has to include him. I think it should include Orange Cassidy, guys like that who really are like this company and who aren't associated with WWE. We're in the very early stages. And I honestly, the other thing, and I don't know how you get to this point with, I don't want to cut Swerve's run short and put the belt on somebody else to have it then hot potato back. But if Darby Allin is in the end the guy who topples this thing, I think that's the best story you can tell. He's the emotional, like, heart, soul guy for this company. Whenever he talks about it, it sounds true. I believe him as the heartbeat of AEW. And I think he should be elevated into the title scene at some point soon, before his body gives out on him, because that will be one of the best emotional payoffs this company can do, is Darby winning the AEW World Championship over one of the worst heels you could put together, which, could be Okada or somebody else. I think that would be insane. I think it'd be so good.
Really nicely said. I totally agree with you that this is the first starting point and that there is going to be this much longer Elite reign, probably leading to Blood and Guts and maybe even beyond there. I must say that no matter what we do, world title, how long is here, anything, we just need Okada and Darby Allin at some point. We're not allowed to get in and out of all this without it.
Gotta have it.
We simply, it's not allowed. It has to happen before we wrap this one up. Thomas, how violent is this match going to get? Is this going to be the match of the night? Are we all just going to be sitting there buzzing at the end going, what the hell was, I feel like other Anarchy in the Arenas have been show stealing.
Yeah, like I agree that other anarchies have been show stealing. It's just been kind of carnage, and honestly, they've all been more violent than I expect. Like I think the plunder match or whatever, but they've been way more like. Was it Anarchy the Arena with the Eddie in the gas can? Right.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Okay. So there you go. But yeah, I think I don't think it's going to be as violent as those. I think it's going to be definitely violent and definitely plundery and definitely bloody. But I don't think it's going to be like some iconic imagery that we'll have on a t-shirt of like Bryan Danielson, like an inch away from ending his life or something like that. But yeah, the one thing that I keep like being really interested in is Okada in a type of match like this, where I'm just like, I don't know, how is this going to work? Like I can imagine in my head and I love it, but also at the same time, like I really want to just know and find out as soon as possible. But like, how will him and Danielson probably like charge at each other, and then like will Okada be like cut up all the time? And I just, yeah, again, I don't think it's going to be as violent, but if it is, then that's just going to be, it's going to be wild to see Okada do that.
Thomas, you're like me, where you have a flair for the death match. You like watching death matches. And sometimes I wonder what people think they are, because people will be like, You watch that, and then they'll watch an Anarchy in the Arena or a Swerve Hangman too. It's like they're not that much further than AEW is doing. Like they're further, but the line is much closer than I think people probably realize. Like Slak, I am picking the Elite to pick up the win here. I don't really see any reason why they wouldn't. Maddie Mac, do you agree? And even if you do, who's pinning who in this match? What do you see as the end here of Anarchy in the Arena?
Yeah, I do think the Elite is going to win. And the end of the match is going to be Nicholas Jackson lighting Darby Allin on fire with his own flamethrower for the 1, 2, 3.
You know Darby Allin is getting set on fire. It feels
Yes.
absolutely inevitable.
I feel like he's getting set
Can't
on
wait,
fire. I feel
dude.
like he's getting set on fire.
He is already the greatest of all time. Thank you, Darby Allin. And yeah, like Thomas, hardcore Rainmaker is something that crossed my mind a lot. I want to see him wrap a little barbed wire around the forearm and then hit a Rainmaker. I feel like that's just a visual birth for the pay-per-view. I can't wait for this one. We're all chalk on the Elite. I think this is one of the results I'd be most surprised to see go the other way. I do agree with Maddie Mac that FDR doesn't feel Team AEW to me, especially when they're opposite the Bucks. Like that feels in particular sort of strange to me. But I've been enjoying this angle largely, and they dealt with the Eddie Kingston injury well, so I'm excited to see where it goes. We move down the card to, I think, a lot of people's genuine most anticipated match of the night. The IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is not on the line. It's an eliminator match between Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita. Thomas, I'll go to you here. These are two guys that I think everybody is dying to see wrestle. We've really seen quite the year out of Takeshita so far. Ditto for Mox. How do you think these two match up? And the eliminator part of this, how much does it bring your anticipation down, if at all?
Yeah, I think these two matchup is going to be really interesting, especially coming off of Takesha's last biggest match against Ospreay, where I think you basically had two very similar guys going at each other, where I think Mox will get a lot more of the kind of keep it on the ground kind of thing. And I think Takesha will really struggle with that, but then also will go back into it and be kind of hit him with some elbow strikes, do all that stuff, kind of go to Mox's level. Yeah, I think these two match up perfectly. It's going to be really interesting and not so straightforward as some other matchups between the two, or that the other two have had. And yeah, I think. Sorry, what was the second question?
How much is the eliminator portion of this match?
Right.
Parlayed, and this is my bad. I don't need to be asking you guys two questions at a time.
I know.
Wax and poetic. You got to keep something in the back of your mind. Maybe it's bad hosting.
No. I should be able to keep two thoughts in my head.
Yeah, actually, what the hell? Only two things.
But yeah, it annoys the eliminator part annoys me for matches on TV and stuff like that, where it's just like it's clearly just to have a lower card person, like not just have a title shot right away. Or I view it like that. And then with this one, I feel like the path is way clearer as to why they have an eliminator, because they advertised Mox versus Evil at Dominion a couple weeks from now. So they can't really change that, like just have Takesha possibly win the title and then have to change that. I think it's just a little muddy. And then the aspect that they can then have Takeshita win on Sunday, earn a shot at the IWGP title, and then not cash that in, but just have that for sometime in Japan, or even when Mox has dropped it, like for instance at Forbidden Door, and then Takeshita emerges and challenges that person to then have like a Takeshita Shingo match.
Now you're speaking my language. Go on the record. Who are you picking here? Do you think Takeshita will pick up the win? Will he pin the IWGP Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley on Sunday?
I think so. I think the eliminator kind of swayed me that way, because why else would like it just not be a straight up match? Be like Takeshita gets the win, but he doesn't earn the title. I think that's the more straightforward. That's what came to my mind right away.
Slak, are you ready for two questions?
Yes.
Question one, but I'm gonna ask them one at a time because that's just the kind of co-host I am. You can come to expect this on Meltdown. Question one: are you encouraged in the way Thomas is, maybe not encouraged, but more brought to the side of Takeshita's winning by the eliminator match stip, or are you on the either side of the fence that it doesn't matter, Mox is winning either way?
No, I think I've been talked into it.
Ooh.
I didn't like my first instinct when I heard it was an eliminator match was kind of a downer. I was just like, you know. But there's so much politicking and weird stuff going on around this title run, around a guy from DDT getting a shot at the belt on a show that isn't run by New Japan. I think New Japan fans are, and I don't know if it's New Japan fans in Japan or just the people who live in the US that are just weirdos that, like I don't care what those people think, to be honest. So if they're mad, I don't give a shit. But you know what I mean? But like people are obviously rubbed the wrong way by a lot of things. And I think they might be blaming some of it on John Moxley, who is not to blame, quite honestly. The booking from a lot of their stuff going on in the undercard is just bizarre and off-putting. At one point you had Nick Nemeth facing Matt Riddle in your company. That's a problem.
For our title.
Fix that. Yeah, don't worry about Mox. He's cool. But that's my concern is Takeshita's not a New Japan guy. So having him, obviously winning this match doesn't give him the title. So are you then saying a guy from DDT is better than New Japan's champion and beat him? Is that something that's going to piss people off? Probably. You can't walk 2 steps without pissing somebody off these days, but
especially if that person is Torque Penderloin.
That's right. I want them to give us a reason to give a shit about future eliminator matches. They're clearly not going away. Give us something. It's been forever since that's happened. So I will pick Takeshita. What's your second question?
Love it. Love that you're picking Takeshita. Here's my second question. Do you suspect this match is going to look more like a John Moxley match or a Konosuke Takeshita match?
I do think it'll be more of a John Moxley match for sure.
Me
I think
too.
He's dominant. He's just like when you have 2 people produce and they're just the kids all look like this one person and not the other one. Like he's one of those. It would be really great to see Takeshita get bloody. Like let's slop it up a little bit. Like prove to me you can do something a little outside your comfort zone, right? Like I've seen you do the Ospreay match. I've seen you do that kind of match in like a short burst on Rampage with Jay Lethal. I've seen you do it. That's great. Do this. Do something else. Like add a trick to your bag of them. Whatever that means. You know what I mean? Like let's liven up the resume a little bit. So I want it to be a John Moxley match. I think the match I think about a lot when it comes to like this was a John Moxley match is the Moxley OC match from All Out last year, where they just subverted the whole thing and they turned Orange Cassidy into Mox, and just had him gushing blood and Mox didn't even bleed 1 drop. That was sick. Like that's one of my favorite matches I've ever watched. Let's do something like that. Let's get bloody. Let's like do a lot of choking. And I'm really excited to see Takeshita take a Death Rider. Let's do it right, buddy. Land on your head, please.
Maddie Mack, will you make it 3 for 3? And I'm with Slak when guys, and one of my favorite matches of the last 20 years is John Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, which ends in the softest suplex Death Rider ever. So I'm not consistent on this, but I'm like you. I like when the guys go head first. There's no doubt about it. Maddie Mack, we've heard from Thomas, we've heard from Slak. Will you go 3 for 3? Are you also picking Konosuke Takeshita to pick up the win on Sunday?
I was, until I heard how popular it was of a pick. Now I don't know.
What a contrarian.
No, I'll take Takesh, Mr. Soup, Takeshita. And I don't have much of a problem with a DDT guy challenging for the IWGP. I think that's all a huge overreaction. They're running shows together now as part of All Together. Kiyomiya just wrestled Ishii. There's guys that are going kind of floating back and forth. Jake Lee. Wait, is Jake Lee in DDT? Yeah. Jake Lee is wrestling Naito. Like there are things that are happening over there where this makes a lot more sense than the stuff we've seen for the last 6 months. I'm talking about Matt Riddle having a TV championship. I'm talking about Nick Nemeth having a championship, or at least.
Did Mustafa Ali win something too?
He hasn't lost anything. I'll tell you that.
There you go.
So yeah, sorry. I'll take Takeshita as well. I think the Eliminator adds a wrinkle to it, and I don't understand why you can't have Takeshita versus somebody on night 2 of the Tokyo Dome show. Like there's gonna be an altogether vibe that weekend anyways, especially if they do multiple nights. Like one of the weekends last year was an altogether show essentially. So I have no problem with it. Let's go Tech. And I think the match is gonna be tremendous. I think him using that straight right, whatever it was on Seidel last night, was a bit of an exclamation point and a bit of a note to Mox, aside from Mox coming out and beating him with the mic afterwards. I think that was kind of him showing like, listen, I've got this, I've got the Wagamame, I'm ready to go. And I hope it does become a Mox match because I want to see Takeshita in that environment. And I think it's going to whip ass.
We're booking a lot of blood for this card, and we haven't even talked about the barbed wire cage match. So this is the right four faces on here. So looking forward to it. I'm crazy. I'm the only one picking John Moxley here. I think you're all making good cases. I just don't see them letting an AEW talent pin the IWGP champion. Maybe I'm underthinking it or not seeing it from the other angle, but I do imagine that the New Japan creative is very heavily involved in what Mox is or isn't allowed to do while he's holding that title. And just to speak for the New Japan loser for a second, while I agree, I mostly don't care what those guys have to say, regardless of who the wrestler was that did it, anyone from another fed that came in and took the world title and then wasn't around the whole time would piss me off as a fan of that fed. Well, basically without exception.
But he's kind of been there most of the time, right? He's been on all their shows.
Not any of the Road 2 tours, which I understand is the like complaint. So like he's at all the big shows, but if you go to see New Japan, you don't get the champion for most of their shows.
Yeah, I think the company is to blame for not having brought those Reiwa guys up sooner and made them main event guys. That's pretty much what happened. I mean,
Do you think maybe the solution would be to you make Dolph Ziggler a bigger deal?
That's the answer to all of life's problems, honestly.
Yeah,
throw a little Ziggler on it. You'll be fine.
Get your man Dolph in there. All right. Yeah. We'll move on to the aforementioned Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black barbed wire steel cage match for the TNT Championship. Can one of you raise your hand if you can explain what this match is to me? Do you have to escape the cage? Do you get pinned inside it? Because if it's not escape, what's the barbed wire do?
Don't know.
Nobody knows, and there's no way to find out. I
can't believe this is happening, to be honest.
Talk to me about that, Slak. Why can't you believe it?
Because it sounds like it could be the most bloody thing we've ever seen. And frankly, it should be. They dumped whatever the fuck that was in the ring. Barbecue sauce, yeah, or at like 2 million miles an hour coming out of a fire hose right directly onto Malachi Black.
Pressure washed the man.
Have you ever seen UHF?
Yeah.
Time to drink from the fire hose. That's what that was.
Great flick.
Except it was McDonald's barbecue sauce, which honestly, right. I could probably get my wife to get into that. I mean, that stuff is gold. Barbecue sauce from McDonald's. It's good. But no, barbed wire cage match. So ostensibly the barbed wire is going to be wrapped all around the cage itself. So if you slam each other in the cage, you're bleeding right away.
Hell yeah.
And then to me, that suggests that you can't climb it. So it's a pinfall submission type deal is what I would assume. Although you also expect Brody and Buddy to show up at some point. And I expect Gangrel to show up, to be honest. I think he'll be there in some way, which is cool. Good for him. Get a check. So yeah, I think it's going to whip ass. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I don't want to think too hard about it. It should be stupid, and it will be, and it's going to be great. And they're not going to stop the match to sew up the demon in the middle of it, which is cool.
Will there maybe be a spooky hologram though?
God, I hope not.
Maddie Mac, to you then, who's winning this match? Are we going to see Adam Copeland successfully work his way through the whole House of Black? And if so, what does that say about Malachi Black's reputation of never wanting to lose, all this sort of thing in AEW? I'll leave it there.
Thank you. It's a great question.
Thank you.
I think the main thing for me is that if Malachi doesn't win, then he has changed the perception that he doesn't lose. But he also, to me, has become a guy who I will continue to not really care about because he doesn't get to where I need him to be. He had the opportunity with Cody to do that as part of the Codyverse, and then, whatever happened. And he's doing it now within the Cope Open and his own world of House of Black stuff. So I feel like we've gotten so close a couple of times with Malachi where it's like, okay, he just needs to get to this place for me to really even think about him at all. Like I don't think about the guy until I see him on TV, and then I'm like, half the time if he's talking, I'm like, shut up, I don't care. But then half the time he's having these incredible matches with Kyle O'Reilly and doing like a feint to roundhouse kick and ending the match in like half a second, and that whips ass. So I don't know. Like I said, it's gonna be he's either gonna change the narrative about him not wanting to lose, or he's gonna continue being a guy I don't care about. Hopefully for him and for me, I would like to see Malachi Black win. I think House of Black has gone too long without a belt aside from the TBS. It was a while since they've had the trios ones, and they haven't had tag belts ever. So I would like to see House of Black with the belt right now continue that momentum forward a little bit, because they've kind of been looking kind of like doofuses with, well, for the whole time they've been in the Fed for the most part, but also recently with Daniel Garcia and Ed Copeland. So, or Edge, sorry, Ed, Adam
It's not as
Copeland.
easy as it looks. Thomas, how does that hit your ears? Malachi Black picking up the TNT title here, sort of finally picking up a big signature win over the course of the last couple years. Would you like that? Is that what you think is happening?
Yeah, like I agree with Maddie. It's just like it's something that I feel like needs to happen. Otherwise, what are we doing here, kind of thing. Because like even recently with their stuff with FTR is like felt weird, like kind of just very temporary. I just feel like let's just do something to get these guys on TV until we move to something bigger. So I feel like it just kind of has to happen. It does feel like a make or break thing with Malachi, where it's like if he doesn't even perform well, like not even win or loss, but I think like if it doesn't, just kind of a stinker, like especially with this stip where it's just like you could just beat each other up to like and have it be a great match. I feel like then it'd be like I really don't care about this guy. I already like whenever House of Black's on screen, I'm just waiting for Brody to like do anything. I'm like skip. Okay, there's Brody. Cool. Skip.
Well, you're missing out on Buddy?
Yeah. It's a great mistake, I've heard. But yeah, I just totally agree with Maddie. It's just I feel like it should be a Malachi win. And especially with Copeland, like I feel like the Cope Open has done well enough. And then he could move on to something else cool.
It's not clear to me where Adam Copeland would go outside of the TNT title picture. I actually find this match pretty hard to call, to be honest, which is why my large part of my excitement about it. Thomas, you touched on what I really think is what I want to expand on here, which is I think Mercedes Moné and I think Malachi Black are two performers on this card that people are going to be watching like hawks, that they're going to be trying to extrapolate an insane amount of data from one performance, which is always a bad way to do it. But, you know, when you do, we like to think about these things weekly. It's a never ending show with no off season. And so they train us to do that. And this can sort of be the give and take. But I really think if Malachi Black goes out there and he has an okay match, it will be read as a totally separate thing as him just having an okay match with Adam Copeland. It will be read as this totally separate thing. And so I think that'll be interesting to watch for, because I'll obviously be saying it's that separate thing. I'll be on the front of the no real information gossip front line. So can't wait for that. I will pick Adam Copeland to retain here. Wouldn't be surprised at all if I was wrong. But I think that in like a classic pro wrestling sense, the babyface worked his way through the faction. He gets to the boss and then he beats them too. It makes sense. I don't think it would have to be the start of something for Malachi Black to win. And I'm not smelling a start of something for him, I guess, is really the source of my pick there. But I'd like to be wrong. I think there's a greater, longer term, higher ceiling with Malachi Black than Adam Copeland. Not that he hasn't been great on his run and whatnot, but I don't think the great Malachi Black run has been had. What did people say? It's what over there in OXT? Like there's still, if he wants to and the body's up to it, they're still interested in seeing a great run from him, I think. Let's move on down the card. I love this feud. I love everything about this feud, except the lies about Chuck Taylor being retired, which I can't believe some people are still believing. These silly geese, they think, oh, Chuck E. T's never come. Not me. It'll be 2036, and I'll be like, the long game, baby. Any minute now, the gentleman's coming down the ramp. But here we have the blow off, at least within the best friends. It's Trent Beretta versus Orange Cassidy. No stip on this match. Slak, talk to me about the effectiveness of this feud if it's worked for you, and who you would have win if you had the pencil.
I would have Trent win. I don't think you can have Orange Cassidy win this one. Otherwise it's just dead. Like, what was the point? There's some weird callous stuff going on in the background with Orange Cassidy that I don't understand. I don't know what that's leading to. I genuinely couldn't tell you.
It seems purposefully sort of gray.
Yeah. Or maybe it's all Swerve on his end and he's got Trent coming under his wing. I don't know. I also don't know how much juice Trent has after this. So I don't think you can end this. I wish it would evolve into something more. Does that make sense? It feels
Absolutely.
a little too self-contained. And with no Chuck Taylor involved, at least until he's absolutely healthy and definitely coming back, which is the thing that's true. I don't know what else you do here. Like, he whispered that thing into Chris's ear when she yelled at him about turning, and I don't know if that becomes part of the story. I'd like to see it grow and not die. And I think you can't have Orange Cassidy just win every feud. Which he's won most of them, right? I mean, obviously he lost to Mox, but then he got the title right back, and then he kept doing that thing again for a while. So a setback for Orange Cassidy really wouldn't. I would like that, frankly.
Matty Mac, just as Slak said that, an idea crossed my mind. Could Trent be the gender flipped China in Mercedes Monet's new posse? Could it be Mercedes Monet, her girls, Chris Statlander, and maybe Megan Bain, we're hoping she brings in, and Trent?
Yes, except he'd be the smallest one in the faction.
Monet's a tiny little person.
It's like Wardlow standing next to Matt Taven. It's like, wait a minute here.
Hang on, this is ruining it.
Yeah, I think Trent could. I mean, I think he definitely has the ability to character-wise. I think Trent's unbelievable. I've been a big fan of his since, back in New Japan, dude runs with Alex Shelley and Rocky Romero and stuff. So big fan of his. I think, like I said, I think he has the ability to become a guy who isn't just this best friends, set into this best friends mold. And I do agree with Slak that Orange Cassidy should lose more. That's part of the whole hook for me about Orange Cassidy. I wish he would but go back to caring less. And maybe he does after this. Maybe he's like, oh, that wasn't worth it at all. I got my ass kicked and like Chuck's dead and for now. And Chris is with Trent because they've been friends longer. So like, what am I even doing? I don't care. Let's drink some orange juice.
Glug, glug, glug. Thomas, are there any legs to an Orange Cassidy heel turn? Like Slak said, it seems like they're sort of teasing that potentially with Don Callis. It's sort of a hazy thing. Is Trent going to do it? Is Orange Cassidy going to do it? Do you think the answer's right in front of us? We were looking for an upper card heel earlier in the show. Do you think there's any legs to turning Orange Cassidy heel in this match? Having I almost called him Orange Callis. Don Callis. Orange Callis is funny. Don Callis getting involved in this match and helping Orange Cassidy turning heel, and now both Trent and Orange are heel, or is that just a little too convoluted? Put the attention on Trent.
I think it'd be definitely interesting because obviously with like OC having such a strong character, or like I guess purposely weak character, of like having such a strong base of a character to then make it heel, like what would we see out of that? Like would it just be like him really kind of make fun of being a heel? Would it just be like doing all these gimmicks and like this like back end like cheating, but like not really trying to cheat? Just be like blindfolding a ref and then just be like pull something out of his pocket, blindfold him, and then cheat to win. I feel like that'd be really interesting, but I think that might be a little, like you said, like convoluted. I think this being the second match, it's just an easy kind of 1, 2, 3 formula of like, okay, OC 1, Trent 1, rubber match 3 with a stip. And honestly, the first thing that popped into my mind was Blood and Guts, and then Trent and OC being the leaders of these groups for an upcoming Blood and Guts.
That'd be cool.
So that was like, I think it's just an easy formula to make. I don't think they're going to make this so super complicated story wise, I think the characters themselves make this interesting enough that you could kind of have a very basic kind of structure and path and arc that it still becomes incredibly interesting because of who these people are.
Very well said by all of you. I agree. This is going to be the Trent win. It should be the Trent win. I like when guys put over their friends and like give them a chance. Orange Cassidy's had his spot there. I agree with Matty Mac. I think Trent's one of the actual underrated guys, not somebody that is amazing. Everybody agrees is amazing. I hear so many people say Trent is a perfect mid-card guy, can't do anything more. I just don't view him that way. I think he's actually underrated. I think he's an upper card guy. I've seen him against Kenny Omega. I think he belong in the world title scene, no problem, and I'd like to see it. And so in that way, I'm excited for what's coming here and this potential to have Orange Cassidy put over somebody so dear to him. I just think is potentially interesting. So yeah, I think it's the right call too, guys. No dissension tonight. I wonder, I don't know what that says about the card.
Well, Matty picked Willow.
Maybe this next one will do it. And I'm really excited for this match. I've had like an awakening about Toni Storm recently. And so now we get to talk about her with Luther and Mariah May taking on Serena Deeb for the AEW World Women's Championship. Matty Mac, I think I sort of slept on Toni Storm's greatness for the last little while. It's become a little bit more obvious to me only recently. Where is she in the hierarchy of total AEW talent in its history? And yeah, we'll start there.
She's the best. She's one of the best characters of all time in North American wrestling at this point.
Well,
she is a top 5 promo in AEW, maybe the best women's promo of all time at this point. And what she's doing with something that she came up with herself is unbelievable. She's nailed it the whole time. I mean, obviously there were issues with too much acting stuff or too much of the timeless stuff in ring during matches that some people had an issue with. I know that you weren't quite on board with that. I just saw it as kind of a progression to where we are now. Certainly in hindsight, I did anyway, so I can sound cooler, smarter. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Tony's. I'm excited what she can do here. I'm also really interested in what they're going to do with Mariah as a part of this. I don't think there's any chance that Deeb wins. If she does, she's going to have help from a returning somebody. Don't know who that is, but there's a couple people that could be returning anytime, which I'd be happy to see. I don't know if they quite belong in Deeb's dojo, but that would be.
I think an MJF fun. Is going to go learn the figure 4.
Yeah. I'm thinking that Nyla is about to learn how to do the Serenity Lock.
There we go.
But yeah, Tony's there. She's gonna be with Mariah. Weaving together the Mariah and Tony thing over the last little bit, obviously them being together, but then also Mariah not having Tony come rescue her a couple of times and having it be Mina has been interesting. So I wonder if there's a wrinkle there. But I do just think Tony's done wonderful work. I think I said all I need to say about how good I think she's been. High praise from a sober man. So I'll leave you with that.
Thomas, how do Deeb and Storm match up in your mind, style for style?
I think Deeb will bring out possibly Tony's best defense of her reign so far. I think it'll just be really kind of interesting to see Tony do some like mat work and stuff like that, because we know she's capable of doing that stuff. And yeah, like it's one of my favorite kind of styles of wrestling. So it's just going to be, I think, really interesting to see if they're able to reach a certain level of it. Especially with like how Deeb has done with like Deonna Purrazzo and stuff like that. I think it'll be interesting to see. I think the styles can match up, but I don't know if it can reach like a certain expectation, I think, if that makes sense.
I do. Yeah. I think that could almost be called the Deeb curse, that the floor is very high, but maybe the ceiling is never quite where the expectations are because of that very high floor. Slak, where are you on this title defense? I think we probably all think Tony's a likely winner, but as I say that, I realize we've said that about a lot of matches. And as we all know, wrestling shows never go chalk. Is there maybe something from the outside we're not considering that could make Deeb a more likely winner? Or do you think this is pretty open shut case? It's going to be Toni Storm retaining, and then we move on to bigger things.
mean, I'd love to be surprised by something out of left field that makes sense that I'm just not thinking of, but it was tough to watch Serena Deeb try to be the face in this program, and just it's not going to happen. I think she sort of turned heel this week, right? I think so. And I'm glad that they figured that out before it was too late. Just she's good at it. She should be the heel. She was a good heel before. Just be an ass kicker who rips off arms. Like that kind of archetype of women's wrestler is so awesome. Going all the way back to Kandori, you could do Baszler in OXT. She was really, really, really good at it. It was sort of an awakening for me. That was the first time I saw someone that was like, I hate this wrestler. All she does is pick on people and beat them up. And then I was like, wait, this rules. This is so cool.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Serena Deeb should be that for AEW. She's here. She's healthy. And nobody's giving her a chance to win this match. And I don't think she will, but if they can give us some close, some near falls or even a near tap or something, maybe a visual tap, something like that, that would be good. Just to give her some credibility on as far as what she moves into next. This match I do see playing out as chalk. Tony wins.
I think so too. Although I do want to say that it's a nice credit to the AEW women's division that even if when Deeb loses here, I want to see her against Deonna Purrazzo. That was one of the best matchups in the division to me. Like this newfound depth that exists on that side. It's encouraging that, okay, Deeb could exit. She's maybe not be on TV that week, but then two faces pop up and go, oh, I do want to see that. That didn't really exist before. It's like, okay, we'll give them a heat up match against Anna Jay, and then they fight for the title.
Right.
We move on down the card to Will Ospreay versus Roderick Strong. Can you believe it's this long into the show and we haven't talked about the Will Ospreay singles match yet, Slak? Unbelievable. Where's your expectations for this one? I think most people have it as the bullseye match of the night. Do you agree with that? And talk a little bit about Will Ospreay on pay-per-view.
I don't think it'll be my match of the night. Nice. I do think it'll be good. I predict Will winning. But man, I don't know. I want to commend, and this is funny because I know people don't really care for Rod Strong a lot as far as his personality goes. I think they've done some really good work on the promo side of this. I don't know if people caught Will's promo on the socials last night. Thought it was really good.
Should have been on TV.
It should have been. It probably will be this weekend. I assume they'll show it. And also that face-to-face they did backstage, I want to say a week or two ago, I thought that was awesome. I thought it was really, really good. I think one of the things that this card overall has done better than Dynasty is they've sold me on almost all the matches. They all seem really well built as far as like each person has what they're trying to accomplish and what they care about. And I get why all these people hate each other. And that's really good. And I think this one has been underrated as far as its build goes. I love the I don't respect you thing from Roderick Strong, who has been around a long time and easily could feel that way. Like he has every right to feel that way about Will Ospreay, which is great. So I buy it. I think the kingdom crap that might happen around it is a little frustrating, and I'm not necessarily looking forward to that part of it. So yeah, I assume that Will overcome a lot of shenanigans to get the win here, but I don't think it'll be my match of the night. I'm not sure it'll be a universal match of the night either, but I'm sure it'll be great. I don't think it has the stakes to make it match of the night.
Yeah, and he's not all due respect to Roderick Strong, I don't think people have the expectations currently of him hitting the heights that he hit with Danielson or Takeshita recently.
Right.
So expectations are just so sky high for Will Ospreay, aren't they, Thomas? He's just this wrestler who people want to tune in to see the great match at this point. What do you think him and Roderick Strong are going to do out there? And do you think it will be a little too late in with the run-ins, or do you think this will be something more straight up wrestling?
I think it'll start out being more straight wrestling, of course. Like it'll be kind of normal that way. I do expect a Kingdom run-in, but then I kind of expect a counter run-in by some United Empire things. I'm thinking Jeff Cobb, and then he's all elite at the end of the show.
Oh, let's go.
But yeah, I think it'll be kind of a standard match of what you kind of see and expect from like a heel has a big faction and then this babyface guy that reps the company so hard. eventually wins the title and overcomes all the run-ins and bullshit that he's kind of had to deal with. And yeah, I think it'll be kind of I want to say paint by numbers, but in the nicest way possible. Of like what you kind of expect from these two wrestlers. But yeah, I think it'll be perfect to have Ospreay have the title, have his moment of winning gold after like his incredible promos and everything like that. But yeah, the actual match itself, I don't expect a barn burner. I don't expect a whole lot of like talk afterwards of the match compared to his other work recently. But I think it'd just be a very solid, like middle of the road, but like middle of Ospreay's road, which is just like another step above everyone else.
Matty Mac, does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, it does. There's nothing I've seen Roderick Strong do that makes me think that there's going to be a moment in the match where it's like, holy shit. I mean, even you look back to like OC and Taven, there was some oh shit stuff in that. And
Yeah.
I just have never seen that from Roderick Strong in my entire life. And I could be wrong. I'm not super well versed in Roderick Strong lore, but yeah, I don't know. There's gonna be a top ropes guy twister from Will, probably an insane shooting star, like incredible stuff, of course. But I don't see Roderick going out of his way to do something out of his comfort zone to further Will, especially if Will's getting the win. Maybe that's just me speaking bad on Roderick. Maybe he does want to put Will over and is going to do something out of the box, but I just don't see it. And as far as Will goes right now, I mentioned it yesterday. Right now, Will to me is Hiroshi Tanahashi. And he's not there. He's in the sense of like good guy, overcoming stuff, always babyface right now. No matter what he does, he's still got like a lot of goodwill as being this guy that he's going to get it done and he's going to do it with a smile on his face and he's going to do some corny stuff, but we're going to love him for it because he's so fucking great right now. So that's my take on Will Ospreay right now. That's my take on the match.
Love it. Okay, before I talk about this, I will remind everybody, go to twitch.tv/wrestlingbrain the moment the pay-per-view ends. Matt and I are going to be taking your calls on the whole pay-per-view. If you want to talk about it with me, you can get in there and show your face just like this. On top of that, patreon.com/J0SHC, $5 a month gets you into the Wrestling Brain Discord. You can chat with these fine gentlemen, myself, tons of others during the pay-per-view all week about wrestling as well. Ton of solo content behind there. The pick'em sheet for Double or Nothing. You can prove that you're a genius. Look at those stickers. Matty Mac, make me a sticker pack. Okay, guys. Patreon.com/J0SHC. Twitch.tv/WrestlingBrain. Okay. I need something from these guys on Sunday. I need courage. I need the courage to do what's right and admit that the Undisputed Kingdom is nothing and that we're just going to sacrifice them on the altar of Will Ospreay. I need this to be all the run-ins, but Will doesn't even need help. You've got, oh, here comes the Kingdom. No problem. You eat a hidden blade. You eat a storm driver. You're getting a tiger driver on the ramp. I only retired it in the ring. And I want Will Ospreay to kill the Undisputed Kingdom. Just put them to bed. One-man army style. Demolish these four. He will look awesome for doing it. We all know it's dead. Adam Cole's not coming back for God knows how long. So even when MJF returns, he has to feud with Roderick Strong and these guys? It's dead. Let Will Ospreay kill them. This is my take. He's a babyface. You can do something else with these guys. The Kingdom actually feel like they have a little sizzle to me for whatever reason. Not to me, but I think people are open to the Kingdom. I actually think that Matt with Orange Cassidy and Matt Taven gave people a lot of goodwill towards them. Cash that in. If you got to do something with Wardlow, do something with Wardlow. But the Roderick Strong lead the Kingdom, it's not a thing. It was never the plan, and they can't get to the plan, and the current thing sucks. I can't think of somebody better to just bulldoze it. Will Ospreay by demolition this Sunday is my prediction, my wish. Courage!
That's fun. Fun angle.
Courage, Slak. That's all they need. What do they lose here?
Nothing. We gain. Addition by subtraction.
This faction is nothing. We have the Elite on the show. This foursome was already dead, and now there's this group of four heels running around. It's done, and Will Ospreay can finish it forever. Courage, like the Tin Man, or no, the Lion, the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man. I obviously know the movie.
It's all the same.
Yeah,
Can
the
this be
Wizard
the
of Oz.
first? Can this be the first pay-per-view where every match features blood?
Yes.
I'm thinking through all that stuff. I'm like, okay, that should happen. And then, so
Spoken like the Sludge Williams we know and love. Yeah, let's have
Two quick things. I loved seeing Ospreay bleed. And the second thing, I think every time the Kingdom has run in on Will Ospreay, all he does is fall back and pull down the ropes, and they both just fly over immediately like worthless little squirrels or whatever. It's hilarious. He's done it twice. They're like nothing. So you might be spot on. It's kind of
It's
funny.
just what I want to happen. Please.
If we
All
get
right,
Mercedes
gentlemen.
Moné, if we get Mercedes Moné bleeding, this is the world's greatest wrestling.
This will be the best.
federation.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Is that the person in the company that would be the most shocking to see bleed? It's her or Okada, right?
Her.
It's her. It's gotta be
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Covered in blood, new face of TBS. Oh boy.
Oof.
she's doing that dance.
She has to do the
CEO.
dance.
CEO. I like the dance. I see people complaining she's always dance. I think it's a cool dance.
No, it's good.
She's
If
a
I could hit that
CEO.
dance, you'd never see me sitting still. All right. Chris Jericho versus Hook versus Katsuyori Shibata. It's a 3-way for the rules match for the FTW championship. I'm picking Chris Jericho to retain. I don't really have much to say on this one. I think in moments this has been funny. I thought the triple threat wasn't very good yesterday. I thought this was all leading to Jericho Bill versus Hook and Taz, and now I don't know, so I don't know anything. Maddie Mac,
Yeah.
help me out here. Am I missing something? Should I be more excited for this than I am?
No, don't be excited at all.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that could happen, Taz gets in the ring. There's no DQ in a triple threat. Let's keep that in mind. We could have Taz, we could have the big Redwood. And Chris showed a lot of interest in Brian Keith the other night during that 3-way, so I wouldn't completely forget about that. But no, I don't. This is to me probably ordering and or looking at where my food order is.
I can't wait to be doing takeout during the pay-per-view. God, that makes me feel good even just thinking about it. Thomas, are you hype at all for this match? The wrestler, Katsuyori Shibata's wrestling. Maybe that's something.
I mean, yeah, he's like my favorite wrestler of all time, but
But
the first thing that came to mind is like something should happen that leads to Hook versus Shibata on TV. Because that I thought it happened somewhere in this build and then it hasn't.
I thought it did on Wednesday.
Or,
No,
well,
the
like,
double
just
tap. I mean, I
single-
thought the
yeah.
event leading to the singles match happened.
Yeah, like it would make sense to, just have that after. And then I was thinking, okay, then Hook wins. Then like Hook wins, but I think if something happens, then they've invested too much in this Jericho thing, like a new Tron, new whole thing, copyrights, whatever. That I don't think it's going anywhere. So the only thing I see and can like easily think of is that this group is going to get bigger. Maybe not on Sunday, maybe on the following Wednesday, but I think this group is going to get someone like Maddie mentioning Brian Keith. Yeah, that's all I can say about this match. Just think about what happens after it because I have no interest what happens.
Slak, you're one of the bigger Brian Keith fans I know. When you hear these two gentlemen positing that he might go sit under the learning tree for a while, how does that hit your ears? Are you happy for the Brian Keith TV time? Or are you nervous for the Jericho Vortex?
I think that sounds good.
Nice.
Brian Keith on TV, learning from Jericho. I mean, that's pretty cool. Taking the other angle here, Thomas is building on something that perfectly segues into what I'm thinking about with this is, like we just said earlier, maybe this was off camera, I don't remember, but Jericho's not going to be off TV anytime soon. That's obvious. They're trying to get a contract. He's a big name. That's just how it is. If you hate it, just go do something else while he's on TV. But this match to me reeks of something that happened backstage that I'm thinking about a lot, which is Samoa Joe walking up to Hook and Shibata and saying, if you two morons would realize that if you teamed up, you could actually achieve something in this company instead of fighting each other all the time. So if Chris Jericho's stable grows with another head, some other stable might need to come together and take them on, which could be our next cycle after the pay-per-view. So I am looking forward to that.
Slak, you can't be teasing me with the team of Joe.
I am.
Shibata. I mean,
Yes.
Hook would be, as you know, Hook's cool. I like Hook. But God, that's
That's what I'm
holy
saying.
hell.
Yeah.
Actually, Hook would be kind of awesome with Joe. There's a lot Hook could learn from spending some time with
And they
Slak.
have a cool history. That match was great.
Yeah, I love that match. That's
It was really good.
man.
That was
I like
definitely
where
my
your
favorite
head's at,
Hook
Slak.
match. So
Yes, easily.
He can learn how to punch.
Yes, he can.
yeah,
Joe is the
Smo-
guy to teach him, which
Joe
rocks.
throws maybe the best body punch, and Hook throws maybe the worst.
That one from behind from Hook's the only one that really. It's like, what do you think we're seeing? All right.
Hook should just like go bick it, just like shave his head, and then just like show up on Wednesday with next to Joe, shaved head. Looks sick.
Are you saying Hook should hashtag play bald?
Yeah.
Here's the name of their faction: 3 Towels.
I love it. All right, gentlemen, let's wrap up on this. The Unified Trios title, no one knows what that means, are on the line. It's the Bang Bang Gang, Jay White and the Gun Brothers, taking on Death Triangle, Pac, Rey Fenix, and Penta El Zero Miedo. Thomas, will just rebound right back to you here. Should Death Triangle just win these titles on Sunday and move forward in the Trios division?
Yeah, of course. I think I think we just have to do something. Like the first thought that comes to mind is something that Josh, you've said, like a lot of like trio, like if trio's strong, then tags are weak, tags are strong, trios are weak. I think especially with the tag belts on the Bucks, you need the trios doing something. And I think a Death Triangle match every week, every other week, against some trio, maybe that new trio we just invented at whatever the next pay-per-view, Forbidden Door or something like that. I think it's just as easy as like they have to do something, and Death Triangle is like the most established kind of must-see TV kind of trio that they can really put together, I think. And yeah, it's just easy as like connecting the dots, I feel like.
Love it. Matt, you agree with this? It's Death Triangle. And if so, who's the finish? Who pins who?
I think it's Death Triangle, and I think Pac taps out Jay White.
Big. Love
Wow.
I really liked how they've done this road to these two teams meeting. This is the perfect usage of the trios titles and how these trios belts need to work, especially within factions. There's so many groups of 3. You have the Kingdom, you have 3 Towels, you have, all these guys, especially like Sledge said, if they are going to do it with if they're going to defend these next at Forbidden Door, that's going to be a CMLL team against 3 incredible wrestlers. If it's not a CMLL team, you might get Yano versus Pac. So, I mean, there's some good stuff down the road, and this is the way they need to book it. They need to have a faction pick on a guy because they don't like him, and the rest of his team come to save him. It's that simple. That's how the only Fed that runs it properly, Dragon Gate, does it. That's how they got to do it. Tony, let's go.
Dragon Gate runs it properly. That's a shout out to Alex. And yeah, I agree with you guys. I think that I honestly think this Death Triangle run, if everybody can stay visaed up and healthy, could be the definitive trios title run in AEW so far. Who knows about going forward, but I think they have a real chance to do something special. Everybody likes these 3. They present something very unique as a team. Pac feels the Lucha Brothers just feel totally different with Pac. They don't all feel like the Lucha Brothers to me. It's like, oh, I've seen a billion Lucha Brothers matches. Oh, they're teaming with Pac. Oh, that's the most different thing I could ever imagine. And it's great for that. Slak, take us home here. This is this Sunday, Double or Nothing. This trios title scene does what for you, and how pumped are you? Has this preview show got you more pumped? Take us home, big man.
Yes, of course. I'm super excited. I think this is going to be great. I think every match sounds really good. Even the Jericho one, just because of what I mentioned. I'm looking to see what they do with that configuration and how that all plays out. So the other thing too is it's not expected to be good. So it can only be better than that. And I think the crowd will have a lot of fun with it too. They're going to lean into the retire and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the one thing about the trios thing that I'll say is I just think I don't want Pac to lose again. So I need him to get a win. And so I do like them winning. I like him pinning one of the Guns, Chester or Wilfred. But I think either way, I'm excited for that match. I think it's going to be great. Death Triangle was amazing as a trio before all the visa and injury stuff happened. The best of 7 was iconic. And also, they could do House of Black. They could do all kinds of cool stuff. So big time into that. This show's going to be great. There's multiple potential matches of the night. There's tons of angles that are definitely going to continue. So we'll see. I'm hoping one return, if not multiple returns. There's a lot of like good uncertainty around this card that, it's Vegas too. They're not in the Golden Knights arena. They're not at T-Mobile. They're in the Garden. So it should have a better vibe overall. I thought last year was a dead crowd that just sucked. So hopefully we avoid that too. I think this is going to be the start of a really good summer, and some of the people who are hating on the promotion can eat one.
Okay, first of all, man, he prefers Chet Gun, so let's start there.
Yeah.
No, really beautifully said. I like the good, unexpected feeling going into it. I agree, and I had actually forgotten they're in the MGM. That is exciting and added value to this pay-per-view for me. I'll be watching. Come back for the post-show. Matt, Thomas, anything you want to say to the people before we get you out of here for the night? And thank you again very much. Both great.
No, happy to be here. Thrilled to see your 3 beautiful faces, and I look forward to watching the show and maybe calling in post-show.
How about you, Thomas?
Yeah, just excited to see the show. Great chatting with the 3 of you, and I am excited to chat with the 3 of you in the Discord at patreon.com/J0SHC.
Nice. Sludge.
And Sludge.
No one says it better. Sludge indeed. Double or Nothing. AEW is great. Don't let these dipshits tell you otherwise. I'm excited for the show. We'll see you then. Until we do, everybody, good night. Love and energy.